That's all the time for that member. The honourable member for Yukon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm certainly pleased to rise tonight to speak on during this debate. And I can say, even though it's 10:30 here in Ottawa, it's only 7:30 back in Yukon. So I hold out hope that there's a number of my constituents will be tuning in to watch this, and it won't just be my mother. It'll be all of them will be in, not just my mom. So, Mr. Chair,
we're as proud of him as you are, Mom.
Aren't we all? I'm pleased to participate in this committee of the whole debate, and would like to start my comments specifically with our government's most recent budget, Economic Action Plan 2013. Canada has a well-earned reputation for excellence in economic and financial management, and we intend to return to balanced budgets by 2015. Economic Action Plan 2013 builds on our economic record by taking concrete steps to position Canada for success in the 21st century global economy. Specifically, it helps Canadians obtain the skills and qualifications they need to get jobs in high-demand fields. It helps manufacturers and businesses succeed in the global economy by enhancing the conditions for creating and growing business. It introduces a new Building Canada plan that will lead to better roads, bridges, public transit in cities and communities all across our great nation. And it invests in world-class research and innovation to help ensure that new ideas are developed and transferred from the lab to the marketplace. Of course, our nation does have challenges to welcome. Despite the fact that Canadian workers are among the highest educated, the best trained in the world, Canada is facing shortages of skilled labor for the coming years. For example, the Canadian Chamber of Commerce has identified Canada's skills shortages as the #1 issue facing its membership, and Canada's resource industries are also facing the same problem with skilled labor and trades. To help address these issues, Economic Action Plan 2013 sets out a practical 3-point plan. First, to ensure that Canadians are acquiring the skills that employers are seeking, the plan introduces the new Canada Job Grant, which will provide $15,000 more per person, including a maximum federal contribution of $5,000 to be matched by provincial and territorial governments and employers. And just this past week, Mr. Chair, I was certainly pleased to host an open house consultation in my riding to speak about the job grant and how employers and how governments can partner and shape this plan into our future so that it works to meet the needs of industry and those skill shortages. Second, the plan will create opportunities for apprentices by working with the provinces and territories and by introducing measures that will support the use of apprentices through federal construction and maintenance contracts. And finally, Economic Action Plan 2013 will provide support to groups that are underrepresented in the job market, such as persons with disabilities, youth, Aboriginal peoples, and newcomers to our country. Economic Action Plan will also provide support to groups that are underrepresented in the job market, and these groups were also well represented during the consultations that took place in the Yukon, and they had very valuable input and feedback that we're looking forward to receiving and reviewing as we move forward. Mr. Chair, members of this House well know that Canada's abundant natural resources are pillars of our economic strength. When you take the direct and indirect impacts into account, the natural resource sectors represent about 20% of Canada's GDP, employing 1.6 million Canadians. The resource sectors also pay more than $30 billion per year to government coffers through taxes and royalties, which helps pay for health care, education, pensions, and other critical social programs. In the case of the energy sector, many analysts say that it has become the new engine of Canada's economy. The oil sands alone are responsible for some 275,000 direct and indirect jobs in skilled trades, manufacturing, high technology, and financial services in every single region of Canada. According to the Canadian Energy Research Institute, projected increases in oil sands production could support close to 630,000 jobs on average between now and 2035. The Institute also forecasts that the oil sands could contribute more than $2.8 trillion to Canada's GDP, or annual average of $113 billion during that same period. This is great news for all Canadians, workers, and their families. But while our resources are great and many, Unless we can ensure that they will reach foreign markets and obtain world prices, we will not meet our full potential as a nation. For those who think that pipelines are an Alberta issue, think again. Getting pipelines built west, south, and east to send our oil and natural gas to the United States, to Asia, and to other world markets is a national priority for this government. Few countries are generating natural resource products on the scale or pace of Canada. As many as 600 major resource projects worth more than $650 billion are underway or planned over the next decade, with the potential to create enormous prosperity for Canada. Realizing the potential of our natural resources industries is critical to our government's goals of jobs growth and long-term prosperity. And that is why our government is so focused on creating the right conditions for success. Through our plan for responsible resource development, we've set firm beginnings to end timelines for project reviews. We are also eliminating duplication in the review process where provincial reviews meet our stringent environmental standards. In the Yukon, natural resource development projects have seen the benefit of regulatory reform through devolution. The 2003 Yukon Northern Affairs Program Devolution Agreement brought management and administration of all the lands and resources under the control of the government of the Yukon. The Honourable Michael Miltenberger referred to the Yukon as a prime example of how timelines and responsiveness of project reviews improved because of this important regulatory reform. In addition, the former president of the Yukon Chamber of Commerce, Sandy Babcock, had reported to the Natural Resource Committee Yukon's cap of $3 million in resource revenue sharing needed to be increased so that the territorial government received a greater share of its resource royalties. The Government of Canada listened, Mr. Chair. Last summer, during the Northern Tour, the Prime Minister announced a new resource revenue sharing agreement, doubling the cap to $6 million. Recently, the Premier of the Yukon, Darryl Puslowski, outlined this made for an additional sharing of $2.7 million to the territory. But our plan is not just about developing resources efficiently. It's about developing them responsibly. Our government is committed to developing our natural resources in a responsible way, which includes strengthening environmental protection. We reject the notion that you can't do both at the same time. Through our actions, including tough new fines for companies that break our environmental laws and new measures to ensure world-class pipeline and marine safety regimes, we're proving that you can. Our government is also making every effort to ensure that Aboriginal people and First Nation people can share in the tremendous benefits that natural resources development offers in the years ahead. Earlier this month, Natural Resource Canada funded $500,000 to a consortium led by the Champagne and Asiac First Nations to pursue a study of potential power generation plant fed by biomass in Haines Junction. This project was included among 56 new innovative clean energy projects announced by Prime Minister Stephen Harper, representing an investment of $86 million through the Government of Canada's Eco-Energy Innovation Initiative. This program was created to invest in new clean energy technologies that will create jobs, generate economic opportunities, and help protect the environment. Mr. Chair, I was certainly pleased to be in the Yukon to make that very important funding announcement, and I can assure you that it was exceptionally well received by the people of the territory and the First Nation of the Champagne and Asiac in that community. The significance of the resource sector's economic impact cannot be understated. In 2012, 32,000 Aboriginal people, or 8.3% of the working Aboriginal population, were employed in the natural resource industry, forestry, energy, and mining. Aboriginal people make up 7.5% of the workforce in Canada's mining sector, but the minerals and metals sector is not the only sector offering opportunities for Aboriginal people. 10% of the oil sands workforce is Aboriginal. Many Aboriginal companies are also thriving in Alberta's oil patch. The Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business estimates that oil sand companies do $1.3 billion worth of business each year, with a wide range of Aboriginal-owned companies, including parts suppliers, mechanical contractors, and camp caterers. Given the scope of Aboriginal business activities and employment, the Council has named the oil sands as the largest single non-governmental source of Aboriginal income in Canada.
That's right.
This degree of participation in Canada's resource economy is a substantial achievement and is one that our government wishes to expand on across the country. To that end, we are committed to working in concert with Aboriginal communities to ensure they continue to share the rewards of natural resource development in Canada. The Committee on Natural Resources recommended this past year that the Government of Canada increase its support to mining training initiatives for First Nation and Inuit communities in order to help develop the labour force required to support mining projects in Northern Canada. Their contributions are vital to the mining sector, and these recommendations seek to further their impact. As you know, economic growth, job creation, and prosperity for all Canadians is our government's top priority. Mr. Chair, in conclusion, our government has designed and implemented policies aimed at driving the economy to its full potential for the benefit of all Canadians. Together, the initiatives in Economic Action Plan 2013 build on previous government actions to reinforce the fundamental strengths of the Canadian economy. By staying the course, the Government of Canada will continue to promote economic growth, job creation, and long-term prosperity for all Canadians.